Well, welcome back, everybody, to another going to be an exciting edition of Pick Your Politics, where we try to educate you about local and regional candidates here in the state of Nevada, as well as some national candidates, because it's getting real close to November 6th and early voting here in Nevada, as well as other places across the country. And this is going to be a very, very important election, not only across the country, but particularly here in Nevada, and especially in Southern Nevada. I'm your host, Dennis Silvers, along with my fantastic co-host, Stephanie Phillips. Let's get.
Thank you very much.
You're more than welcome. And there's a lot of stuff going on in politics.
There is.
Steph, not only here, but gosh, all over.
Yeah, they're expecting a huge red wave, so we'll see how that translates after November 8th.
After November 8th. And I was telling Stephanie, as much as the Republicans are very, very hopeful that they're going to make some really great inroads, not only locally, but also in the U.S. Congress and Senate. I read an article today, Stephanie. The writer said, I think the Republicans are mistaken. I think they're going to even do better than they're anticipating.
Yeah, I think the Democrats are a little bit scared of how powerful it's working across the country.
Yeah.
So.
And speaking about powerful, and you know, I've got a number of friends on the west coast of Florida, and that hurricane is something else, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I have a lot of friends in Florida, so we just hope they're all safe and get through this storm. So.
Yeah, we wish him all the best. Anyway, let me tell you about our guest today. I think you're going to find her very charming, very delightful, very insightful. Amy Wilson is running to be elected as a judge in Las Vegas Justice Court in Lucky Number 7 in Department 7. Amy has been an attorney for almost 2.5 decades, having practiced in California, Arizona, and now, of course, in Nevada. Amy's had experience in a number of areas throughout her legal background as an attorney, of course. Amy has had an experience sitting as a judge pro tem for 5 years. She also represents foster children as a volunteer, as a pro bono children's attorney, which I think is absolutely fantastic. We're going to get into that a little bit with her. Her platforms are upholding the Constitution, of course, public safety, which is on everybody's mind today, and treating everybody, I like this, with dignity, fairness, and respect. So without further ado, let's bring up our guest on the show, Amy Wilson. Amy, thanks for taking time out of door knocking or whatever and spending some time with me and Stephanie.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I always appreciate the opportunity to share a little bit about myself and my campaign with the community. So thank you for having me.
Our pleasure. Amy, let me ask you, what motivated you to want to become a judge? And did you ever think about district court, because you have the qualifications to run for district court?
You know, I've heard that before. Other people have asked me that same question. And while I do believe I would be qualified to run for district court, I really love justice court. I'm very much a people person, and we like to say that the justice courts here in Nevada are the people's court. And the reason we say that is because the justice courts in Nevada handle such a wide variety of cases. So I am very qualified to be a justice court judge. That's where I sit as a judge pro tem, which I also did in Arizona, in the justice courts of Arizona in Maricopa County, which are similar to our Nevada justice courts handling criminal cases, civil cases, evictions, small claims, traffic, the wide variety of cases. So I am confident, comfortable, well qualified to be a justice court judge. And it's really where my heart and passion is, to be involved in making a difference in people's lives and being impactful from that position.
Right. And you do a variety of different kinds of cases in justice court, as you mentioned. In civil cases, in criminal cases, Amy, isn't it the purpose of justice court for you to determine as a judge whether that should move on to district court or not? Am I correct?
Yes, that is definitely part of it. So all criminal cases, misdemeanors and felonies, start in the justice court. Misdemeanors make their way all the way through justice court. So from the arrest through a trial or a plea, misdemeanors are in justice court.
Okay.
Offenses, the more serious charges, start in justice court and are then bound over to district court for trial or plea.
Right. If I had a small claims case against Stephanie and we showed up in your courtroom, would you have to get off the
She'd
case?
have to recuse herself.
Yeah, you'd have to recuse yourself.
I can't answer questions on cases that may come before me. And
See?
so, however,
No small claims for you.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Okay.
I will say that the small claims, in full disclosure and candor, the small claim lenders are mostly handled by the hearing masters. We have 3 hearing masters in Las Vegas Justice Court and Judge Pro Tems. I've sat on small claims as a Judge Pro Tem.
Okay.
The full-time elected judges generally do not handle the small claims cases. That doesn't mean someone might not fill in here or there, but generally it's the hearing masters and the Judge Pro Tems that handle small claims.
I'm just real curious before I hand it to Stephanie, how did the limit of $10,000 come about in small claims? Why isn't it $11,000 or $12,000? How did you settle on $10,000?
Well, that wasn't my decision.
Well, I know.
It used to be 5,000, but why it went from 5 to 10, I don't have a great answer for you. I'm not sure. I know there's even talk of increasing it even more, or maybe not in the small claims, but for justice court, because so small claims limit is 10,000. Justice court jurisdiction is up to 15,000. So civil cases, people suing people or companies for money up to 15,000 are heard in justice court. Over 15,000 goes to district court.
Gotcha.
That's a legislature thing.
Yeah,
We want
that
changed.
is, I guess.
I was reading last night, Amy, about your pro bono work, and I would love to. I didn't know you had 3 sons either, but I would love to hear about the pro bono work that you've done for children.
Yes, thank you. So Legal Aid of Southern Nevada has a program. It's called the Children's Attorney Program. We call it CAP, C-A-P for short. And there are full-time legal aid staff attorneys who cover about 80% of the cases. The goal of the program is to have every child who is in foster care in Clark County have their own attorney. And like I said, the full-time legal aid staff attorneys cover about 80% of those children. They then recruit pro bono volunteer attorneys like myself to fill in the gap with the other 20%. And they do a phenomenal job. And it's very important because we literally give the child a voice in the courtroom. When a child is removed from their home and put into foster care, the parents are appointed attorneys or can hire their own attorney. The district attorney's office has deputy district attorneys that represent the state, the best interest of the child, along with the Department of Family Services. Often there's also CASAs involved, court-appointed special advocates for the children. Their job is best interest of the child. My role is direct representation of the child. So I give, for example, if one of my kiddos said to me, Amy, I want to go live with the man on the moon, then my job is to go to court and fight like heck to let them live with the man on the moon. Yeah. It's giving them a voice of what they want. It's not necessarily, it's not best interest. My job is not best interest. That's the state jobs. My job is to represent the child and give them a voice in the court and in this process that is all about them. They are in these circumstances due to no fault of their own. And so it really is the most rewarding thing that I have done with my legal career. And every case is important. Every client's important. The children in foster care, look, if we don't stand up for kids, what do we stand for, really? And to be able to provide this service to them and be involved, it's really, really rewarding. It also can be heartbreaking. I go to meet with these kids and it's difficult, the situations a lot of them are in. And it's also rewarding when we have great outcomes for the kids. I say, if I hit lotto and didn't have to pay bills anymore, I would do this full time and, you know, be a child advocate. It's
Yeah.
really in my heart to do that. So that's something that I've done for about 6 years now, and I've represented lots of different children from newborn babies up to I've had kids
Wow.
aging out of the foster system. And you might say,
Wow.
"Wow, how can you represent a baby? They can't even talk to you and
Yeah.
tell you what they
Yeah.
want." That's true, but they do have their own cap attorneys, and we there is a presumption in the law that children want to be with their biological parent, so we take that into account. We observe the baby or the young child in the home where they're at with the prospective adoptive parents, or often it's family. Like I had a case where my kiddo was just a baby when I was appointed to represent her, and she was ultimately adopted by her paternal grandmother in what was a really great situation for her. But my job is to imagine her 18-year-old self telling me what would she want. And you just have to take in all the information you have and make the best decision you can. For me, in that situation, it was obvious. She was so bonded with her grandmother. The
Yeah.
grandmother made an effort to keep her parents involved in a safe surroundings with my little kiddo, and it was pretty emotional the day that she was adopted by her grandmother.
Yeah. I'll
After
bet.
coming, being born to a drug addicted mother and a father that had drug issues as well. So
That's so
That's
sweet.
all.
there are a
That's
lot of
awesome
kiddos in
work.
difficult
Yeah.
circumstances.
That's
I love
awesome
that.
work.
This is the side of judicial candidates, especially that the voters just don't get to see and they
Right.
don't know about.
Exactly.
Because, people look at judges and courtrooms and think, oh, that's so scary. We don't
Yeah.
want to be a part of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But I love that you're involved in that, Amy. I wanted to ask you about just when you're ruling on certain cases, whether it be personal injury, a car accident, or whether it's domestic violence or whatever it is, if you have had that personal experience yourself, how do you keep your own personal biases out of your rulings and things like that?
That's a good question. And also, my very frank response is it's not as hard as you might think, because when I'm sitting as a judge, my role is very different than my role as an advocate, as an attorney. My role is to listen to the facts, listen to the evidence that's presented to me from both sides, evaluate that evidence, and apply the law as written. So, one thing I think is important for me coming into this position is that, especially in criminal cases, look, in the Justice Court right now, the Las Vegas Justice Court, there are 15 different departments, and we're adding a 16th this election. So think 16 different courtrooms that make up the Las Vegas Justice Court. Most of those are criminal departments. There's 3 that handle just civil cases. The rest all have criminal calendars. There are 2 that are exclusively domestic violence, 1 that's exclusively DUI cases, and the rest are general criminal calendars. So,
Wow.
my background, I have been a prosecutor, but I've also been a criminal defense attorney. So, I perspective from both sides of the aisle on criminal cases. I'm very much law and order. I'm very honored to be in law enforcement. I live in this community. I want our community to be safe. My children, 2 of my 3 sons live here, friends, family, loved ones. We want our community to be safe. What's also true is that people have constitutional rights, and criminal defendants have constitutional rights that have to be upheld. So I feel like I come from a great perspective. I haven't only been a prosecutor or only been an attorney. I have both perspectives and can give both sides a fair shake.
Yeah. Amy, near where I live, you have an electronic sign. It says vote for Amy Wilson, Justice Court Department 7. And underneath it, Amy, you've got like more law enforcement badges than a group of Boy Scouts, for crying out loud.
Has a lot of
It's like
endorsements.
every law enforcement agency in the state has endorsed you. Number one, it's got to make you feel great. And number 2, how did you get all of that? Because that's really good on you.
Well, there's two large organizations that are made up of, gosh, several. I don't want to give you the wrong number, but lots of smaller police organizations are part of these larger
Right.
organizations. That makes sense. So literally all of those badges that you see on my endorsements and other judicial candidates that are similarly
Yeah,
endorsed,
yeah.
we are literally endorsed by law enforcement officers, over 10,000 individual officers, and I believe 100 police organizations up and down the state. So that is a great honor. And how that happens is we interview. They interview us. They look into our background, our resume, our qualifications, and they make a decision. They endorse. Sometimes they don't endorse at all in a race, but I am the candidate they chose in my race, and I'm very honored by that. And I mean, quite frankly, it's a judicial race, and law
Yeah.
enforcement endorsements in my race in particular are very important, and
Yeah.
I'm
You
honored by
bet.
it.
Yeah, you bet.
What determines when you have to decide to recuse yourself from a case or not?
Well, a recusal would be in a case where you either can't be fair or it might appear that you might not be able to be fair. Uh, there's not necessarily hard and fast, checkbox rules, but it's depends on the totality of the circumstances. Um, so certainly there's disclosure. Like say someone comes into court and they're a personal friend. I would absolutely call both counts to the bench and say, so this person is this relationship I have with this person, or this is an attorney on the other side that I used to practice with. Just so you know, if you want me to recuse myself, let's talk about it. If I just feel like I should, I just will, and I'll send the case down to a different courtroom. It'll get signed. I'm sorry, there's not really like a checklist, but I'm aware of anyway. But it's more of the totality of the circumstances around what is the relationship,
Yeah.
disclosure for sure, so that both
Right.
parties are getting a fair shake and feeling like they're getting a fair shake. There's the appearance of getting a shake, and they really all are important.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's good. At least they know, and then they have the option to.
Yeah,
choose
to go
or
ahead or
not.
not. At least you're doing that. Amy,
Right.
you were
Yes.
in California. You were in Arizona. What made you decide to come to Southern Nevada to Las Vegas and practice law?
Great question. Right out of law school, I practiced law in California. My first job was with the Orange County Attorney's Office in Orange County, California. My husband at the time got into dental school at the Bay Area, so we moved to the Bay Area for a few years for dental school. And when he was finished dental school, he actually had a great job opportunity here in Las Vegas. And I was honestly a little hesitant to move. I'm like, you want to move our babies to Las Vegas? I'm like, oh, but I was a bit reluctant. I will own that. But I came here and I absolutely fell in love with Las Vegas. There is just something really special about this city, about the people
Yeah.
here. I feel like Las Vegas, there's just opportunity. Anyone who's willing to come here and work hard, there's opportunity here, and people are accepted. I loved it. I made great friends. My kids made great friends. And then my former husband decided he wanted to move to Arizona and start a dental practice there. So off we went to Arizona for about 8 years. And Arizona is very nice.
Yeah.
We have great friends there as well. But there's just something about Las Vegas, and I'm always wanting to come back. And we finally did about 10 little years ago when my old son was starting high school and had the opportunity to go to Bishop Gorman and play football there. So that's in large part why we came back or how we got back, but we're back and I'm back to stay. I absolutely love Las Vegas. I'm not planning to move anywhere. And anytime I move, I have to take another bar exam, which is not a
Right.
whole lot of fun.
Right?
Yeah.
So I'm not doing that again. But I am very proud to say I have taken and passed 3 bar exams, 2 of them amongst the most difficult in the country on my first attempt. And I think that is a tribute to my work ethic. Look, I'm a smart chick, but my passing the bar exam is the first time on three different states is a tribute to my work ethic and being well prepared and
Yeah.
studying hard for those.
That's for
I am
sure.
so glad that
Yeah.
you straightened that out, Amy, because I had heard you go to a lot of bars, and now that
Oh, stop.
And now that we know, it's no, I've done a lot of bars to get my law degree.
Don't
Just
start
kidding.
rumors now. Don't start rumors. Poor Amy.
Easy there. I know.
Amy, are there term limits with judicial seats? And if not, do you think there should be?
Okay, there are not term limits that I'm aware of for judices. And as far as my personal opinion of whether or not there should be, I can't comment on that.
Oh,
because
okay.
the rules that we have to follow.
Okay.
Okay.
I didn't know that
Comment
was
on
part.
policy issues that might come before the court. We have to be really careful on that sort of.
Yeah.
I can tell you personally, I'm 52 years old. I'm a Mimi now. My three sons are all grown. My youngest just graduated high school, and I'm a grandma now. But I like to go by Mimi. I think it sounds younger.
Yeah.
And if I am so honored to serve as a judge in our community, my intention, at least from where I sit now, is I think 2 terms, and then it'd be time for me to move on, or maybe become a senior judge and still contribute in the community where I can. But yeah, that's what I can say.
Yeah, I think you're speaking of that. I think your grandson has a very cool name, Dax, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Yeah, very,
Yes, it is different and very cool.
very
He-
cool. Yeah,
He is
very
the
cool.
best thing. He is just great.
Amy, what do you think is the main problem overall with the judicial system here in Clark County? Can you put your finger on 1 or 2 things that you would like to see fixed?
Well, our judicial system here in Clark County, our courts are really busy. They're really busy. Look, speaking as to the justice courts in particular, because that's where I sit as a judge pro tem. Well, I also practice mostly in the district court, where I'm of the small civil firm. Most of our cases are in the district court. We're really busy now. After COVID, cases got very backed up in the district court. In fact, I almost didn't win this year because of how backed up our cases were, and our trial schedule just looked unbearable. Like, how could I possibly manage both? Things have settled down a bit, but cases are still backed up a bit, but it's getting better. The justice court, I mean, they're large caseloads. When I sit as a judge pro tem on criminal calendars, we'll have 80, 90, 100 cases on every day in the justice court. So, I mean, personally, I want to make sure that you have to be efficient, of course.
Yeah.
And what's equally, if not more important, is that everyone is treated fairly and that the case is handled appropriately and given the time necessary to do that. So that's not easy. And I see a lot of judges working hard and really doing the best that they can, for sure. And also, I'd say, I think it's important quality in a judicial candidate to have a strong work ethic. Yes, we need to have the legal experience. Yes, we need to have the right demeanor, but we also need to be workers, because quite frankly, being a judge is a job where someone could just roll in, call their calendar, zip through it and roll out and be done for the day. Right?
Yeah.
And that's not my style. That's not what I intend to bring to the bench. My work ethic is such that I will be there early. I will be prepared for my calendar. I will run an efficient calendar and do the best job I can, and then prepare for the next day, be involved in the community. I have ideas of things I like to do and changes I'd like to see in the justice court in particular. I would love to see, we have a couple specialty courts already. One is a veterans treatment court, and the other one is community court. And the community court addresses the issues of homeless people in our community.
Right.
So where a case is appropriate, the veterans or the homeless population, their cases can be transferred over to those specialty courts and address the issues that are bringing those people there. And I really like that opportunity to have cases handled in a way that we're addressing the issues, so that the jail just isn't a revolving door of our veterans or homeless people coming in and out. Let's address the issues. And that benefits the whole community.
Sure.
Now, as I've been running for judge, I've learned a lot about Hope for Prisoners. I don't know if you've heard of that program here in our community.
It's wonderful.
And I have become just really so fascinated with what they're doing. as are coming out of prison to re-enter successfully,
Right.
and they're doing an amazing job. And John Ponder, the man who started that program, mentioned to me one time that he has a vision of starting what he called a hope court in the justice courts. And I thought, wow, let's happen, because that seems to make all the sense in the world. Again, where a case is appropriate, some people need to be sitting in jail. Not every case is appropriate, but where
Right.
the case is appropriate, let's address the issues that are bringing people to court and stop the cycle early on, nip it in the bud, so we don't have someone that has a rap sheet a mile long, 10 years later, especially for younger people coming in.
Right.
Let's address the issues. Is it substance abuse? Is it mental health?
Yep.
Right.
Is it, family issues, issues around economics, like what's going on? Let's hold people accountable for sure. And let's do it in a way that benefits the whole community.
Yeah.
Like, I'm very open to having those conversations, and it's not something that will happen overnight. Obviously, you have to get the county commission on board. You have to get the funding. There's steps and
Correct.
hurdles
Right.
in order to have a specialty court. I think it's worth the work to
Yeah.
to
That'd be
try to
a
make
great
that
that'd be a
happen.
great program.
Yeah, that's a
That'd
really
be
good
great
idea.
program.
Yeah. I've heard one of the problems in the court system is that some of the judges take a long time to render a decision, sometimes months. And is there some kind of guideline or statute that you guys have to give a ruling by a certain date? And if there isn't, how come there's not? How come there isn't a,
Good question.
time frame that you
Good
guys have
question.
to live within?
That is a good question. There's not a statute I'm aware of that mandates you have to have your decision by a certain date. I know, as sitting as a judge pro tem, when I sit for small claims, we actually do written orders onto those small claims cases, and I have to have those back to court within a week. And so I meet that deadline. That's a deadline I've been given on those small claims orders and rulings. Same when I sit in the civil calendars, I get them done right away. But it seems like the sitting judges, I don't know that they have any mandated time frame, and some are much more efficient than others.
Yeah.
And perhaps there should be some kind of time limit, because these cases, you think, oh, it's just justice court, it's less than $15,000, but if it's your case, it's very important to you. And people
Right.
waiting around for months
Well,
on end for a decision, that's
yeah.
not right, and that will not happen on my watch.
Yeah,
Yeah,
everybody
that's good.
wants they all say, a speedy trial, fair and speedy trial. Let's get a fair and speedy verdict for
Yeah,
crying out loud. It should
decision.
work both ways. Amy, we're getting a little short on time, and I want you to tell everybody that's viewing, what do you bring to the table, in this case, the bench, more than your opponent?
Well, the department I'm running for is Department 7 in the Justice Court, Las Vegas Justice Court. Right now, Judge Beth Heron is the sitting judge. She is retiring, so it's an open seat. She has a general criminal calendar right now, which means she's hearing cases, anything from stealing a candy bar to murder and mayhem and everything in between.
Oh, wow.
In Justice Court, that really is true. I mean, you'll sit on the general criminal calendar, you'll have a wide variety of cases. Now, the assignments in Justice Court can do and will change. So, depending on the outcome of the elections and that's in the court, Department 7 may become a civil department, or it may stay a criminal department.
Uh-huh.
And remember, within the criminal assignments, it could be a domestic violence
Right.
calendar exclusively, DUI, or general criminal. So, what I bring that sets me apart from my opponent is my experience in every area of the law that Justice Court handles cases. I have literally practiced law, represented clients as a civil lawyer, as a criminal defense attorney, as a prosecutor, and I sit as a judge pro tem. I actually have judicial experience in the Las Vegas Justice Court, as well as the Justice Courts of Arizona and Maricopa County. So that my opponent is a young public defender, and to the best of my knowledge, that's the extent of his legal experience is as a public defender. And so that would definitely set us apart. I
Yeah.
think not just the legal experience, but life experience is important. And
Yeah.
I've been married, I've been divorced, I've raised kids, I'm a grandma. I've had sleepless nights with little ones. I've had sleepless nights worrying about. I've had to stand on my own 2 feet after a divorce, and for empathy and compassion for people in various life stages and bring that life experience and wisdom to as well as
Yep.
experience.
Yeah, there you go.
That's important.
How can people get a hold of you? Do you have a website? Give us your web address if they want to help you, they want to learn more about you, they want to donate money because it costs money to run a campaign. Tell us about that and tell us about any events you have coming up.
Yes, I do have a website. It's Amy Wilson for Judge, for spelled out FOR, amywilsonforjudge.com. All my contact information, yeah, you can meet me directly from the website. It has my email and phone number on there. As far as upcoming events, I don't have any particular event scheduled right now, but certainly would love to have any kind of help knocking door, donations, wearing my t-shirt, a yard sign. I mean, there's a lot of ways you can really just getting the word out. You know, judicial race, the ballot, you got to make your way all. We're nonpartisan races. There's not an
Right.
R or D behind our names.
Right.
So we really need a grapher to help us get the word out. So telling your family and friends, hey, candidate, you support her. Every little thing. Bring my t-shirt to the group.
Yeah.
Hey, contact me. I'll put you to work.
All right. That's good. That's
Well,
good.
thanks
Anything
for
else?
coming. No, we've got to wrap up here, but thanks for coming on, Amy. We appreciate your time so much.
How do we get a hold of a t-shirt, Amy?
I have one of her t-shirts.
Oh, I don't have one of your t-shirts. What's up with that?
I'll get you one.
All-
I'll get you one through Stephanie.
All right, I appreciate
or you
it.
email me.
I will. I will. Anyway, Amy, thank you so much. The best of luck. Anything we could do to step up, help you out, please let us know.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
No problem. Thank you
Thanks,
very
Amy.
much. All right, everybody. That's Amy Wilson, and candidate for Justice Court, and seems to have it pretty well together.
Yeah, she has a lot of experience and,
yeah.
like she said, life experience. You can't replace that with
No.
with anything. It's very
No.
valuable. I think she'll be a great judge.
Yeah, yeah. All right, that's going to wrap it up for this edition of Pick Your Politics. For Amy Wilson, my great co-host Stephanie Phillips, I'm Dennis Silvers, and make sure you tune in same time, same place next week for another great show. So until then, remember, vet your candidates and get out and vote, everybody. So long.
See you later.